Hello, I'm Alison Duana. I'm a goddess asteroid astrologer and Gene Keys guide, and welcome to my creative podcast. So this week I want to talk about a new asteroid who has popped into my realm. If you've ever listened to Kim Gold or Kelly Hunter's, one of my other favorite goddess asteroid astrologers, these goddess asteroids, they kind of come to you when you're ready for them. So I've never been one to just kind of try and study them. I've waited for them. So this one is called Hebe. She's the cupbearer. And she was actually, I think, the sixth goddess asteroid to be discovered, so quite soon on, because there's lots and lots of them now. So I'm going to be focusing on her today, and I'm also going to be looking at a trans-Neptunian goddess called Lempo from the Finnish tradition. So the reason I've brought these two together, if I just share the chart. So this is the chart coming up in the next few days. This is what's called the Venus Moon portal gate here in Gene Key 3, which is about innocence, the restoration of innocence. So Hebe was just coming into my head all week while I was on holiday. I was with my partner, her sister, and her father. So there were these incredible sort of sister dynamics playing out, and also father-daughter relationship. And one of the things I found out is that Hebe represents this daughter relationship. Mythologically, she is the daughter of Juno or Hera and Zeus. So kind of what's quite interesting about that is that Zeus Jupiter had loads of illegitimate children. So Hebe is, if you like, the daughter that's conceived within wedlock, and that alone kind of gives her a certain status. So she's said to represent eternal youth, and she fed the gods on Mount Olympus their kind of drinks and all of that. So having come home, I discovered that she is conjunct the North Node. She's also in Gene Key 23, which is about stripping away. It's the gift of simplicity and the city of Quintessence. And for me, this is really linked to innocence as well, because when we strip away all of our complexes and karma, what we find is within ourselves is this innocent, eternal child who seems to be very present in my life and in the groups I'm in this year. So this is why I'm going to talk about Hebe and Lempo together. And as I say, it's in the context of them being conjunct the North Node, which is karmically where all the energy is kind of pushed towards this point. So there's a lot of potential for healing in this area at this time. And it's funny because I was speaking to my cousin earlier. This is before I started any of my kind of research, and I said, I'm breaking free from my daughter complexes in relation to my own mom's expectations of me, but these are very ancestral, and it's an area I've become quite interested in lately, because my dad has Parkinson's, so there's a huge expectation on me to be the carer, which I am a few mornings a week. I take on that role and I'm very happy to do that, but I'm not willing to kind of give my entire life up for that. My creativity, my astrology is equally important, if you like. But this is the part, I think, that is the breaking free, because historically women have taken on roles of carers, is a huge one. Um, you know, but there was even an expectation that the youngest daughter especially would kind of stay at home and take care of the parents and may not even marry herself. So, you know, if we look through the generations of expectations of daughters, we're quite a good place here, but there's still, you know, and maybe it's not for everyone, but there's this weight of expectation. And in the family constellations work, you know, that whether you're born the youngest, the middle, the eldest child are all really important. And actually, if there's any kind of interruption to that, like a child dying, you know, that can cause like a huge amount of strange energy dynamics. So these are all things to think about. You know, I have a brother as well, so very different dynamics when you have a brother and sister relationship, and being brought up in quite a traditional family and culture in South Africa. You know, it was the girls are going to do cookery and the boys are going to do woodwork, and I was a real tomboy, so I was always longing to do what the boys were doing, you know. so um so yeah, so there's that dynamic as well. So wherever you lie in the family, this is something to think about. Hebe as the daughter archetype, but you may be a father of a daughter, a mother of a daughter, a grandmother, you know, and these things with astrology, I think it's always so helpful to kind of have your work with your family tree all the time. And you know, how were daughters treated down the different lineages of your family, which will give you a really good idea of what's in your line, because epigenetically it can carry through 11 generations. So it doesn't even have to have happened to us. It can be there as emotional molecules, like stuck to us. So it's like, how do we break free? And this moment in time is a really good moment in time to break free. So I wanted to talk about Hebe as the cupbearer, but more from the, well, I say the Celtic tradition, because the story of Percival and the Holy Grail almost certainly actually comes from the Middle East and kind of landed in Britain, but we also get it in France, Germany, other countries as well. But it's really kind of become part of the Celtic mythology, the Holy Grail stories, and it's been a kind of really big part of my understanding of what is unfolding astrologically, involving other bodies like Juno, mother of Hebe, who is about the sacred marriage of masculine and feminine. Hygeia, who I've also visioned as a cup holder, a goddess of healing, and Astraea, who I perceived holding the spear of fire. So we have this connection of the male and female there in the Holy Grail mysteries, the fertilization, if you like, of the new cycle. So this was in 2017 when these three bodies traveled together for many, many months. It was quite remarkable what happened with them. And so it's interesting now that Hebe, the cupbearer, should come in. So she's come into, if you like, in my consciousness through this whole idea of the cupbearer in the Holy Grail tradition. And Hebe on Mount Olympus, You know, she was feeding the gods the immortal elixirs, whatever they may be, to keep them immortal and young forever. So this is why she's connected with like eternal youthfulness. Okay, so the Holy Grail story of Percival starts with the story of the Grail maidens who lived in the wells in the land. And whenever travelers came by, they would give food and drink freely to those travelers. But then a certain king comes along, and we'll call him a taker. And so there's this beginning of the raping of the Grail maidens, you know, and him and his kind of soldiers take this up. And so what happens is the Grail maidens withdraw into the inner earth, and a time of you know, this kind of constriction, of loss of generosity, if you like, comes about because of this violence, and we could say a loss of reciprocity, which we know is at the heart of any well-functioning human society, is that we live in reciprocity with each other and with the land. And so this is the healing, really. I've felt myself in the stream many times, and maybe you can relate to this too, of the healing of the Grail maidens. You know, and it's very much connected with sexuality as well, and you know, maybe the feeling of safety of being a young woman with sexuality is something that Hebe might raise in ourselves. So we have these two issues, the one of being a daughter. You know, does that place certain cultural restrictions on us that we are now ready to break free from, in order that we can really be ourselves, to manifest our gifts in the world. You know, we have to say no to these cultural conditioning ways, if you like. And the second one then is about this protection of sexuality, of innocence, you know, and an honouring of the Grail maiden archetype, who is the cupbearer, who, if you like, bestows this immortal energy wherever she goes. Okay, so so that's very interesting in the context of Gene Key 23, which is called Splitting Apart, you know, and it's really about paring down, returning to this quintessential self. So who's Lempo then? Well, she's a fascinating body. She's a trans-Neptunian body discovered in 1999, and named after a Finnish goddess of love called Lempo. But she's an archetype that's again become very distorted, in a bit of a Medusa kind of way. She's come to represent evil, as a kind of projection from Christianity, and sort of that squashing of the sexuality of woman, like seeing the sexuality of woman as evil. You know, it's like the Lilith Eve story, if you like, as well. You know, that women are the problem, women's sexuality is a problem because it provokes violence in men, or it forces them to behave badly. So it kind of puts the onus on the woman rather than saying, well, the men need to kind of own that they need to kind of learn to control these urges, if you like, that are causing such a problem. But as we know, Christianity turned into this very patriarchal religion and spread out in this way, you know, very repressed many female traditions, and that certainly wasn't where Jesus was, because Mary Magdalene was his closest consort. And you know, the book of Mary Magdalene is kind of really amazing. If you've never read that and you're interested in who Jesus really was and what he was teaching was so revolutionary on the level of gender, that, you know, it's almost like the opposite what Christianity did by, you know, stopping women becoming priests and all of these patterns. So Lempo is about all of this, you know, and all these trans-Neptunian planets are about returning us to a unified sense of consciousness. You know, they're repairing the web of indigenous cultures. And I'm really interested in all those cultures from Northern Europe. Actually, I have some ancestry in my DNA, which I can't trace, so it must go so far back. But I have some Finnish genes, so I'm very interested in, you know, it's a kind of Inuit culture. They live in an extremely cold and challenging climates. Yeah, and I've had a very challenging time, all in all, in surviving on this planet. And so it feels like Lempo in some way is bringing through those teachings. So, so I'm going to do some further podcasts on the discovery of these two bodies, because there's so much more information about them that I can share when looking at the discovery charts. But it feels like that's kind of too much for this particular podcast. But I really hope I've tweaked your imagination and your curiosity. So I offer astrology readings, and if you quote Hebe and Lempo at me when you contact me, I will throw in looking them up for you. I normally just do the first 6 goddess asteroids, who are really amazing in and of themselves, but as a kind of special gift, I will look at these 2 for you as well. So you can get in touch. My email is astroalison@gmail.com. I'll put it underneath, and I can send you further information about what I offer. So thank you so much for listening, for sharing with your friends, and please take these goddesses and make them your own. Namaste. Bye.